Hello, Internets! We'd like to welcome fans, friends, and enemies alike, and thank you for joining us for another Peeridium unboxing. Maybe even the first. I don't know if we posted any of them, but we've done them. They're archived. You'll see them.
Yep.
My name is Outbreak, and I'm joined today by the wonderful...
I'm Mojave.
Okay, and today we have these lovely things. These are, what are these? Commodores?
They're Sega Genesis.
Yes, yes, that's what it is. So, Super Nintendo Classic Minis. Everybody knows the NES Classic Mini was really sought after, really hard to find, really awesome.
Hottest item of 2016.
Absolutely, yeah. It could have the hottest mixtape if it was, if you mod it, you can add that to it.
Like if you went on SoundCloud, well, you wouldn't see this, but it'd be the NES Classic.
Exactly. So, why do we have 3 of these? You may wonder. Well, that's because there's one for 3 different regions. So we have the U.S., which is this one.
This is the US, yep.
Yeah, and then we have this one, which is in European regions.
Yeah.
And then
We have the Japanese Super Famicom.
yes, so there's slight differences between these. You can tell maybe by the box art that obviously the box art is different, but the design and color scheme of the controllers and the console is different on the US version.
Yeah.
And then some of the games are different, which we'll get into that in a moment. So I guess we might as well.
Going back to box art, out of the gate, I'm gonna say this one wins the Famicom.
Yeah, it looks
it's just
it looks awesome.
yeah.
It's tough. All right, so which one do you want to start with? What do you think?
We can start with the U.S. I think that's what most people are accustomed to, our viewers. So,
All right.
we'll crack.
So we'll think maybe if we just set these.
You know what, real quick, I just want to compare boxes. This is something we haven't done.
Yeah.
It looks like the Famicom is just like a 16th taller, maybe. They're all the same width.
A 16th of an inch. But if you
Yeah.
don't follow the metric system, it would be a Royale with cheese larger than.
It's just a hair taller.
Yeah, very similar in size. Not like looking at it from afar, you wouldn't notice the difference. I would say to the naked eye, it doesn't really look like that. So let's get these over to the side so that we can.
Oh.
Yeah, whatever works. There we go.
Hopefully it looks alright.
Okay, so this is yours, so you do the honors.
Do you want to go game list?
We can do that. We
Okay.
can do a game list.
So,
Okay.
I got it right here in the back.
Cool.
We got Contra 3, The Alien Wars, Donkey Kong Country, Earthbound, Final Fantasy 3, F-Zero, Kirby's Dream Course, Kirby Superstar, Mega Man X, Secret of Mana, Star Fox, Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting, Super Castlevania, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario Kart, which is the greatest game, Super Mario RPG, Legend of Seven Stars, Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Super Punch-Out, Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, and Yoshi's Island. Last but not least, Star Fox 2, which has never been released before.
Yeah, that was one of the big selling points for this. Obviously, the console sells itself, but the fact that they were doing less games with this one than they did with the NES Classic was kind of like, I think they had to do something so that people wouldn't be like, oh man, you guys put less games, it costs more. Yeah, you get you get a second controller, which is awesome.
They really had to justify the $20 more expense over the NES Classic.
And the NES Classic only came with one controller, and you
Yeah.
could use any Wii peripheral with the plug on it. But if you wanted the NES Classic controller, if you wanted a second one, you pretty much had a better chance at finding a console and buying that and taking the controller out of that than you had finding a controller, because the controllers were incredibly hard to come upon. Now, there were plenty of third-party controllers that were wireless. There's all types of stuff. But like, if you wanted that authentic, I want the 2 NES Classic Mini controllers to go with the console as is, as it comes.
You want the candy bar controller.
Right. So this one comes with 2. You got Star Fox 2, never been released outside of like ROMs and things like that online. Really awesome, and some fantastic games. Link to the Past, Super Mario Kart, Super Metroid. It's awesome. Even like you're bound to have at least a few games if you liked the SNES initially, or if you're just a Nintendo fan, you're bound to have at least a handful of games that have plenty of gameplay, enough to justify $80 in my opinion. I think it's a lot of bang for your buck.
Mm-hmm.
especially in comparison to
Yeah.
buying a new console
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
know.
I mean, if you went out and bought a used system and all these games separate, it would probably cost you more than buying this.
Earthbound alone sells for about $100 to $200, I believe,
Yeah.
on like eBay and you know
Yeah.
third-party retailers. So that alone, if
That
you
alone,
just
yeah.
want to play Earthbound in a traditional style, you're just buy this,
Yeah.
you know. And thankfully, they said that these should be produced more than the NES Classic. There were a lot of shortages, so hopefully, with the SNES Classic, people will be able to get their hands on one. Hopefully, you watching, if you like the video, you like the console, you'll be able to get your hands on one. So I think it's time to break the seal. Let's get in there.
Okay.
One thing I like about this, because the packaging is so cool and it's retro and it's a collector's item, you know, you may even want to just display the package. I like that there's not tape all over it. You know, it seems like anytime you buy a game or a console or a peripheral, it's like they always lock it up like Fort Knox. And if it was something that had a cool package, you're SOL, because you're going to end up tearing that thing apart getting into it.
Okay, so first thing on top is a poster, I believe. I don't know if you've seen this yet.
I have not, but I've imagined it would have came with one since the NES Classic did.
Yeah. It's actually on the back of this poster is the instructions, basic hookup, power, HDMI, controllers. Pretty straightforward.
I like it. I can dig it.
Hopefully that's focused in there.
Pack it up.
It's a lot, you know, the old school style to it.
Yeah.
NES.
It says now you're playing with Super Power, which is a big thing because Nintendo Power Magazine, that was like their thing. Well, Nintendo in general, but now you're playing with Power was everywhere. Now you're playing with Super Power. It looks like it has maybe some little story lines about the games, or like a little bit of information about the games, and then some screenshots. So that's pretty neat. Definitely, it captures that retro feel. Though it doesn't, you know, they kept that flavor with it.
There's this warranty stuff. I'm not gonna read you through all that.
I don't think
Let's
anybody's
start with
all
the extras here. You got your USB adapter. This is the only model that comes with the USB adapter. So if you buy the EU or the Japanese version, you do need to buy USB adapter separate, or use one you already have, or use your TV.
It uses a standard like micro USB hookup. It's just like an Android device or tablet or what have you would use. So most likely, unless you're strictly an iPhone user and have, I don't know, cable that's pre-attached, you should have something laying around that you can use if you do get a hold of one of the other ones.
So
Mind if I
here,
grab another one?
yeah, you can crack out one of them. So you got your Super Nintendo controller with the purple buttons. They are concave. The Y and X are concave. It feels pretty solid.
I like it. It's got like
Yeah.
it reminds me of like it feels exactly like it used to.
Yeah. Like it's not like a brick, but
And,
yeah.
and I'm not going to go through all of it to stretch out the cables or anything, but I do know that the cable on this one is a little bit longer, not significantly longer, but it's a tad longer than the NES Classic controllers were, which was one of the biggest complaints. The controller cable on the NES Classic is like 2 feet.
Yeah.
I think it's like 26 inches or something. Like you have to sit right in front of the screen. This one you can go a little bit further, not too much further, but you can go a little bit further out, which is nice for sure.
And then, only thing left is the actual console itself. Outside of your, I didn't see anything there. So they give you an HDMI cable, and they give you the actual USB, the micro USB. They give it power from the USB charger. So console itself,
Man, that thing's tiny. Looks like a McDouble.
yeah, nice and small.
That's what she said.
So on the top here, you have your power button and your reset button. You just push those up and down. They don't actually go in, they like slide.
Yep.
On the front, it's actually a fake face on it. And it's just like a little window.
the window to the wall. So maybe maybe a button.
I had this open before.
Oh,
Technical difficulties.
it's sealed. they sealed that one.
There we go. Okay, so this front just pops down, and you have your controller ports, and these controllers will actually work with the NES, and the NES controllers will work with this, but I don't know why you would do that.
Yeah.
Unless you modded it or
Well,
something.
I mean, if you don't have that second NES Classic
yeah.
controller, you can substitute that, and you just got your A, B, and start.
And that just snaps back in. Bottom says it's made in China. Didn't expect any different. You got some rubber feet, so it doesn't slide around. I'm gonna take a look at it there.
This is nice. It's lightweight. It looks so awesome. I've seen people joking online about how the original Super Nintendo, you got that discoloration. It got that like beige hue to it because and so like I've even seen pictures of people custom painting these a beigeish color to mimic that. But this looks so nice, and it feels like obviously much smaller, but like the power button feels like it did back in the day. The reset. And just the overall, like, it captures all that nostalgia. It's really cool. The Super Nintendo is one of the first consoles I ever played. When I was really young, I played my aunt's. I awesome memories on that. So, really cool. It's awesome to be able to introduce these games to my kids and, like, to any friends I know and stuff that have never played them. People who weren't into gaming, etc.
Well, actually, we could leave this out and I'm gonna go through them all.
Okay.
Apparently, start with the EU one, I guess.
Yes. So, European one. We've got. Okay, yeah, so that's right. So we've got Super Mario World, Donkey Kong Country, Secret of Mana, F-Zero, Super Castlevania 4, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Earthbound, Contra 3, Super Punch-Out, Street Fighter 2, Kirby's Dream Course, Mega Man X, Kirby Superstar, Super Mario World 2, sorry I'm a little blind, Super Mario Kart, Final Fantasy 3, Super Metroid, Star Fox, Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars, and Star Fox 2. The reason I have my phone up is because there are slight differences between the versions, and let's see.
I think the North American and the EU.
Yeah, I'm just confirming. Yeah, okay, cool. So there's a few games on the Japanese one we'll get to in a moment that are different. They're missing a couple games in exchange for other games. So we'll get to the chance to look at that. Okay, we'll slide the box out here. So no poster, little operation manual, but no poster on this one. So. Kind of sad. Also, like Mojave had mentioned, there's no wall adapter with this one or the Japanese one, so you have to buy.
Controllers are a little bit different.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'll get to that first. So the controllers on these models the color scheme is different. It had purple on those, light purple, dark purple. On this one, we've got yellow, red, green, and blue.
Yeah.
But the overall feel of the controller, I think, is the same. Oh, and they're all convex on this model.
Yeah, two convex, two concave.
Yeah, but the feel is the same. It feels like they just basically replaced the buttons and the emblem.
Logo.
Yeah, it looks a little different, but I mean, it feels. If you want to try it out, it feels exactly the same. The buttons depress the same way. They're.
Yep.
I think that's solid. Look. Okay. So now the console, same type of stuff. Really, this is just missing the wall cable or the AC adapter.
USB adapter.
USB adapter. Sorry. So everything else in the box is pretty much the same. Still two controllers, but the console looks a good bit different. The buttons, totally different. I mean, it's slide up and down to turn on. Reset is actually a press button on this one. On the US version, it's a slide. Still the same kind of thing, like Mojave was showing you guys, that you pop this out. Oh, there's a little catch. And you hook the controllers right into there. So everything else, the overall layout of it, and again, like you mentioned, the games are the same, but the layout of this one's different. There's no purple. This is, you got the little color splash up top. Other than that, everything's gray. Just different shades of gray. Thankfully not 50. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah. I mean, between these two, I kind of like that this one is nice and sleek. Like, it doesn't have like all the hard lines. I mean, they're both great looking little systems. Like, if you set them next to each other, they complement each other for sure.
And the US version's a little bit bulkier. Hopefully you can see. But actually, just to give you guys, since I have my phone out to look at the game list, just to give you guys a size comparison, like I have a Galaxy S7, which is one of the larger phones, but that's how big the SNES Classic is in comparison to a smartphone. So it's pretty cool, if you grab an original SNES, the thing's a brick. So it's pretty neat that it's so tiny.
The original is probably like 2.5 times these.
Yep. So really cool. I actually, you were saying you prefer this. I actually prefer this design, but I do like the color.
Yeah.
I like the colored buttons. But I like this. I like the purple. I don't know. I'm a purple fan, so.
That's personal preference.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the last one, we've got the Japanese. Turning Japanese. Oh, yes, I'm turning Japanese. Okay, so first, before I crack this open, what am I doing here? So we've got, you probably can't see it in the video, but we've got some game differences. So the Japanese version does not have, why did I do that? The Japanese version does not have Earthbound, Kirby's Dream Course, Street Fighter II, Super Castlevania 4, or Super Punch-Out! But in replacement of that, it has Fire Emblem Mystery of the Emblem, The Legend of the Mystical Ninja, Panel de Pon, I hope I pronounced that right, Super Soccer, and Super Street Fighter II, The New Challengers. So they replace Super Street Fighter II Turbo, but then the other games they just completely replace. Like Super Soccer, I've heard, is really cool. So it's still really good games from what I know. And Fire Emblem, obviously, that's a long-running franchise, and I know it was way big it was big in Japan way before it was big in the U.S. So it's probably a justified decision to include that. Alright, so we'll open this bad boy up. I think it's going to be pretty similar. We might have something else in the box. We'll see. So the owner's manual. Oh, the owner's manual. This one's really thin. With the European version, the owner's manual is a lot thicker. It almost felt like something you'd get with an appliance.
This is the US one here.
Yeah, this one's like 2 pages. Maybe, I don't even know if there's a middle page in there. It may be 1 page.
Yeah, that's super thin.
Yeah, so let's look at the controller. I think it's going to be pretty similar, if not the same. So the buttons are the same, still the convex color scheme. It says Nintendo Super Famicom. So a little bit different on the way the name's displayed. Feels the same, looks the same as the European version. And then the console itself. Oh yeah. I mean, pretty much spot on, except Super Nintendo versus Super Famicom displayed on there. It's really the same. It kind of looks like, maybe it's the lighting. It kind of looks like this is a little bit of a darker shade of gray on the base console, the surrounding part. Like they use a different color plastic, but it might just be the lighting. It's not.
Yeah,
It's like just slightly off. It could just be a different dial or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like. Oh, you
see,
know what?
this is lighter. This is darker. Or this is a little bit darker. And
So it looks like
right?
that. Yeah. So a little bit different, but definitely nothing where you're gonna pick up on it. But it's not eyesore.
Super hard to see. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. Actually, I gotta be holding it the right way. Where.
Now it doesn't
Yeah,
look like
yeah,
that.
I know. It's, what just happened?
Where are you, David Blaine? I think it's the lighting. I feel like
maybe I had one like that.
telling you, dude, it's the light.
Okay, maybe the lighting's off a little bit here. We're not going to make any claims other than that.
we do not support the claims that they use different colors.
Man, kind of stench to them.
Yeah.
Kind of smells like fish a little bit.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. We've got 3 and Super NES Classic Minis from 3 different regions. We've got the US, we've got the European, and we've got Japan.
Yeah, the only one we're missing is the New Zealand Australian version, which is the same as the EU, but the box art has less stickers on the front. They're like not needed. Something along that nature. It has just this little stickers on the front of the box.
So there you have it. Really awesome consoles. Hopefully we'll be doing like a review or some type of, just like our thoughts on it. It may not be a full-fledged review, but just talk a little bit more about it once we've had some time to mess with it. But definitely it's going to be a hot holiday item this year. Highly recommend checking it out if you're a gamer, if you love Nintendo, if you like the Super NES initially. Definitely going to be an item to add to your collection. I know for sure. I know they did a great job with the NES Classic. This is done by Nintendo. It's not an off-brand like At Games or any of them. So you know it's a good quality product. It's gonna be great to add to your collection. It's a nice convenient way rather than blowing off the carts and putting them in your original to play these. And some games that aren't easy to come by, like Earthbound, you can play not in the Japan version, but on the other two. So it's a great way to play the games. Nice and convenient, inexpensive for what you're getting.
Just plug and play.
Right.
No online subscriptions, no having to buy anything other than the system.
Exactly. So thank you for watching. Definitely check it out. Follow us. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Peeridium. And of course, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Like and subscribe and share and keep watching. We appreciate it immensely. My name is Outbreak.
I'm Ave.
And we're signing off. Have a good one.